Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the regular meeting of the City Council of Universal City, Texas. It is May 16th, 2023. I'll call this meeting to order now at 6:30 p.m. and call for a quorum check, please.
Mr. Neville?
Here.
Sorry. Mayor Williams?
Here.
Mayor Copeland Neville?
Here.
Councilmember Buck?
Here.
Councilmember Goolsby?
Here.
Councilmember Zarian?
Here.
Councilmember Shelby?
Here.
Councilmember Bond?
Here.
Quorum is present. We shall proceed. This evening's dedication will be given by Mayor Pro Tem Neville, and I'll lead us in the pledges afterwards. So would everyone please stand.
Let us pray. Father, we ask you to shower your blessing on all the endeavors of Universal City in the years ahead, as you always have in the past. Tonight, two new members, Ashton Bowman and Christina Fitzpatrick, will take their places on this council to help guide this city into the near future. And this council will continue to have the voice and acquired wisdom of Council Member Blair Goolsby, along with Council Members Buck and Bourne, to listen to and act on the concerns of the citizens of our fair city. Help our city administration to formulate policies which resolve differences between code and tradesmen to make it easy to conduct business here. As concerned members of the Republic of the United States, let us resolve to stand steadfast in support of all the members of our armed forces who stand guard around the world. We meet tonight just 9 days after the anniversary of May 8, 1945, the VE Day, the end of World War II in Europe, and just 3.5 months before victory in the Pacific. And then we are near entering the 70th year of our truce with North Korea. We must stand tall with our allies everywhere they are. Bless the citizen, the city, and its leadership. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
I was like, see? Okay. Okay. Cool. Just a little clap here. Okay. Thank you, everyone, for coming this evening. A wonderful, wonderful crowd. We're going to say goodbye to two fantastic people and say hello to two fantastic people. So it's a very special evening for all of us. A little bittersweet, certainly, but that's the way the process is done, and it's been done well. So first thing we have on our agenda this evening is it's National Poppy Day coming up pretty soon, and we have the privilege of reading a special proclamation to the American Legion Ladies Auxiliary Missing Man Unit 667. And I'm going to ask, is Ms. Sager and Ms. Hogan here? Come on up and join me, and Mr. Mayor Pro Tem is going to read the very first part of it, and he'll pass it on to Councilmember Shelby, who will read the last part of it. So I'll join the ladies down there, and you guys go ahead and read when I get done. I don't know how many you're all totally familiar with this, but you're going to learn a little bit as they read the proclamation. So that's what I
Proclamation of the City of Universal City for National Poppy Day 2023. Whereas Universal City is the gateway to Randolph Air Force Base, and whereas Universal City is closely tied to the military community and supports all military members, including veterans and current service members, and whereas poppies are worn and displayed as a symbolic tribute to our fallen and the future living veterans and service members, and whereas at the end of World War I, the American Legion family adopted the poppy as a symbol of freedom and the blood sacrificed by troops in wartime. The symbolic use of the poppy comes from the poem In Flanders Fields, which movably begins, In Flanders Fields the poppies flow, between the crosses, row on row. Referring to poppies that sprang up in the churned up earth of newly dug soldiers' graves over parts of Belgium and France. And whereas
One second. And whereas the American Legion family has long utilized the red poppy as its official flower, symbolizing the blood shed by those who have served in our U.S. military and the meaning and symbolism of the poppy, mirroring the manner in which the international community uses the symbol in remembrance of those lost in battle, especially for Remembrance Day, also known as Armistice Day and Poppy Day. And whereas National Poppy Day encourages all Americans to wear a red poppy in remembrance of the fallen and support living service members and veterans, promoting unity across our country. And whereas U.S. House Resolution 309 recognized each Friday before Memorial Day as National Poppy Day, making May 26, 2023 an appropriate date to designate as National Poppy Day. Now therefore, let it be resolved that Mayor Williams of the City of Universal City supports the designation of May 26, 2023 as National Poppy Day, and be it further resolved that the Universal City Council encourages all members and visitors of Universal City, Texas, to join in observing this day to honor every service member who has died in the name of liberty, freedom, and democracy, while also showing their support for living veterans, service members, and their family members.
Look at the shirt that she's wearing. Isn't that special? Pretty special. Look at that. Yeah. Think of anything more appropriate to do than have this proclamation for National Poppy Day. And I'm not sure many of you were totally aware of the tradition. It's pretty spectacular. And we have an incredibly active ladies auxiliary here in Universal City. And it's my honor to be able to present them with this proclamation. And I hope you display it properly at the Legion.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. And would you like to say anything, ma'am?
Well, no, I wasn't prepared to say anything, but usually I can come up with something. But I would love to see everybody with a copy on next year at this time, tomorrow. Hopefully, if these people are small business owners, you will allow ladies from the Legion to come and set up and maybe get donations for all the copies. You know, we'll give them out and whatever, and you guys can just say, oh, come on in, and give them some money.
Well, it's all obviously very just
Oh,
and worthy
yeah.
cause, without question. So, congratulations for what you all do in supporting our veterans and those who paid the ultimate sacrifice for their country. So, let me present this to you.
Thank you very much.
I'm very happy to be able to do that. Congratulations. Those are some of the opportunities that really make this job a lot of fun. Okay, let's move on to procedure for this evening. The first one is Tavern and Raid, which is to consider the minutes of the Tuesday, May 2nd, 2023 City Council regular meeting. Go ahead, entertain a motion.
move approval as amended.
Mayor Pro Tem
Second.
made the motion and seconded by Councilmember Shelby. Appropriate. Right, any discussion, anybody? All right, call for the vote, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Neville,
Aye.
Councilmember Shelby,
Aye.
Councilmember Buck,
Aye.
Councilmember Goolsby,
Aye.
Councilmember Najarian,
Aye.
Councilmember Vaughn.
Aye.
That motion passes. It's very appropriate that the motion was made and seconded by our two outgoing council people. All right, the next item on the agenda is citizens to be heard. It's a chance for citizens to address council on matters or concerns, matters of interest. We don't take any action on it, but we certainly welcome anybody's participation in it. It's been very active in recent years, and that's really been extremely helpful to us on council as you address us on concerns or issues that you may think are very important. And by the way, they all are. They don't go on any deaf ears. So the individuals that have signed up this evening, I'll call you up in order that you signed in. First of all, Ms. Lori Putt, just give us your name and address for the record, and try to keep your comments to 3 minutes, please.
Lori Putt, 114 Fox Club, University City. I'm here to wish you, Mr. Neville and Mr. Shelby, well. I want to thank you for your time. I've given you your goodbye. Thank you. I want to thank you for the tremendous support that you've given Parks Partners and the time that we've been doing this. You are our biggest cheerleader. You are our greatest fan. But to sit here year after year and watch you and listen to you, I appreciate you. And I know you've blocked me from your memory. He and I are the only ones who know this, but he was my CCD teacher when I was in 11th grade. And I apologize, and I have prayed for forgiveness. Because I know I just, but anyway. I just want you to know how honored we are as citizens and residents to have had you stand up here and guide us. You are an amazing man. I promised your wife we will keep you busy. Right? And so, okay. I got your number.
She agreed to that?
I agreed to that. She's not. But thank you. Bear, God bless you. We're so glad that you're still here. And I really do want to open arms welcome Ashton and Kristen, because, wow, 2 women on board, we are in for a great ride. I appreciate you running, I appreciate your time, and we're looking forward to it. But thank all of you, but don't go too far, because I've got your number.
I can't walk too hard.
We won't let her.
I'll catch you. Thank you very much.
Okay. All right, the next individual that's on this evening is Mr. Bill Havlick.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Bill Havlick, 13406 Adonis, Universal City. I came here to say congratulations to the winners, wherever you're sitting, some up there, some back there. It was nice to see 6 people won. It was nice to see that 6 citizens had the interest in running in this recent election. I sat up there for 4 terms, and your seat's up there today. And people would ask me, where do you live? I would tell them, I live in the greatest country in the world, and I live in the greatest city in the United States of America. And they'd say, you're crazy. Ask the mayor. I've been called worse than that, city manager. Right?
Yes, sir.
I've been called worse than that. I look at straight in the face and tell them prove me wrong. I am convinced we have the best fire department, police department, public works, city staff in the United States of America. I tell everybody that still to today. In working with the city and the staff, some of you are back there, some of you are up there, some of you are over there. I met some of the finest people I've ever met in my life. And I've made lifelong friendships with a lot of them. And I want to thank them all for that. We have challenges. I know you have challenges, and the new people, you have challenges too. We had the Pat Booker Road remodeling. I don't know if anybody remembers that. The world almost ended on that one. After that, the golf course flooded. I don't know how we solved that one, but we solved that one. We solved all the challenges because we work together as a team. And that's how you gotta approach this. It's gotta be one team. Discuss the differences, work out the problems, work together for a common solution. Lastly, for you all up there, the people are gonna be sworn in, have fun. If you don't have fun, it ain't worth it. When I first came in the Army in 1974, at our graduation, General Dinges told us, if it ain't fun to put on the boots, it's time to hang up the uniform. If it ain't fun, it ain't worth doing it. I want to tell you all, I'll keep you all in my prayers. May the good Lord bless each and every one of you. Be safe and God bless. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Bill. Not too bad for a guy from Chicago, right? All right, next individual signed up this evening, Mr. Bernie Rubal.
Mr. Mayor, council members, thank you very much, council members, for all your time and efforts in all that you've done for Universal City. Sometimes it seems like we don't agree on everything, and we probably don't. However, we still have a common goal, and that is to move things forward to benefit all of our citizens. So again, I thank the retiring members of our council so very, very much, and I congratulate the new members. And Mr. Mayor, also Ms. Goolsby also, for continuing your efforts on behalf of Universal City. I want to actually, as you know, I usually have another note, and that is, one note on the copies. If you ever walk the distance between Veterans Park and the disc golf course and up to our city park, red course, you'll notice that there are stands of wild red poppies along the roadway and along Silver Creek. So just FYI, if you've never noticed them, they're there. The last thing that I'd like to bring up is, of course, a matter of significant council business of past and future, and that is using the words of our city manager that she sometimes uses. I think there's general agreement that we should reduce the permitting for fence repair. Thank you very much.
Mr. Rula, I also want to thank you for your continued interest and your willingness to participate in the process as well. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay, the last individual to sign up this evening is Mr. Ken Taylor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, council members, Ken Taylor, Universal City. As you know, leadership is a big responsibility. Council member Neville has been carrying that responsibility for 24 years, which is remarkable. As he departs the council, it is with the knowledge that he has served his community well and has made a lasting difference for the good. While serving as city manager, I knew that I could always count on his wisdom and his forward thinking. As Councilmember Shelby also departs the council, it seems like it was only yesterday he was the rookie member of the city council. Now he is leaving as one of the senior members, hard to believe. He too has served his community well, and his contributions have truly made a difference. Congratulations to the incoming council members. You are now part of the leadership team. Mr. Mayor, that's a team with a capital T.
Thanks, Ken. All right, those are the individuals that actually signed up to speak at Citizens to be Heard. Would anyone else like to address council that didn't get a chance to sign on earlier? Okay, all right. Okay, let's proceed on then with our business for this evening. There's going to be 5 no tabs actually to begin with. One is to consider resolution 950-2023. It's a resolution canvassing the vote for the May 6, 2023 general election, declaring the candidates elected and requiring the oath of office.
Yes, sir.
Right, thank you, Mayor. The general election for the purpose of electing 3 council members was held on Saturday, May 6, 2023. The election was duly and legally held in conformity with the election laws of the state of Texas, and the results of the said election have been verified and returned to us by Bexar County Judge and Clerk. With that being said, the results of the election are as follows. Ashton Bowman, 586 votes. Christina Fitzpatrick, 716 votes. Bernard Rubal, 506 votes. Richard Dick Neville, 462 votes. S. Bear Goolsby, 591 votes. Richard Edwards, 340 votes. With that being said, the candidates who were elected by the qualified voters of the city of Universal City was Christina Fitzpatrick, again 716 votes, S. Bear Goolsby, 591 votes, and Ashton Bowman, 586 votes.
We do need to have a motion.
Move for approval.
Second.
Second by Councilmember Shelby. Discussion, anyone? All right, call for the vote, please. Chris, Maribel?
Was it no?
Neville, yes, and then Shelby.
Mayor Pro Tem Neville,
Aye.
Councilmember Shelby,
Aye.
Councilmember Buck,
Aye.
Councilmember Goolsby,
Aye.
Councilmember Najarian,
Aye.
Councilmember Vaughn.
Aye.
Okay, that motion passes. Congratulations to our newly elected members, and we'll have them swearing in a couple of minutes. This is the tradition that we have here every year during election time. So now it's a bittersweet moment for me, representing council, to say goodbye to our two individuals that are leaving council before we welcome our new members. So I would like to have Mr. Shelby, would you join me down here?
Eating distance.
I could use a stool, but I'm standing next to that.
We all.
I can make a meal. Okay. As I say, this is the bittersweet moment when we say goodbye to someone who has served us so faithfully for the last, actually, 10 years. Liam was on our planning and zoning commission, and volunteered to be a part of that. He's been a volunteer in a lot of activities, and we've been doing it for a long, long period of time in Universal City, and it's been a pleasure to know him. He's had 4 terms now as a council person. And I can tell you that he is really well prepared at all council meetings. When he makes a statement, he knows that he has looked at everything. He has just got himself really well prepared. And he followed in his dad's footsteps. His dad, Rob, right up here, was a council member from 1984 to 1986. So this is a great opportunity for the legacy to continue with the Shelby family. And it's been a pleasure to work with William for such a long time. Before we have your stuff, I would like to, if you would like to present these, if you'd like to present these to Alexis. Alexis, come on up here.
He said I didn't have a
Well, I'm going to do it anyway. The people behind the scenes that do a lot of support are the women and the men that support everybody else, right? And so this is a great opportunity for you to say thank you to Alexis for what she's done, and the two of them have a great team together, and I want you to present those. So. We really actually go pretty far back. Rob and I were coaches and referees for the YMCA when they were playing youth basketball at Kitty Hawk Middle School when Blake was about this small. My son is still not this small compared to Blake. So our time together goes back quite a long way. So I just want to be able to say thank you, William, for your dedication and service to us. There are certain things that he really enjoys. And I think you'll see why these presents are going to work pretty well.
Yeah.
Look at this. Take a look at that. You know what this is, right, everyone?
Millennium Falcon. Millennium Falcon.
Okay, and here's the other part of the action. Okay. Set for you. And we try to say goodbye to our council people for giving them something that will be memorable for them. I think this is all right. And would you like to
I can't believe it's been 8 years. I'll stand for everybody. It's been an outstanding experience doing this for the last 8 years. It's been a humbling experience. When I first ran, I had no idea. That I would actually be elected and that people would trust me to represent them. As a kid who grew up in the city, and literally grew up in the city, and spent a lot of time in the fire department. My dad was the assistant fire chief at the time. Later joined the fire department. Watching the city grow and what it's become today, and then getting to be a part of where it went, where it's going, and where it continues to go for the last 8 years. I've got to work with some really amazing people in the city. Ms. Turner, Mr. Taylor, Randy, Kristen. I know Aileen's not here, but I remember Aileen. Pat Collins, worked with a lot of really amazing people that come in here and they do this every day as you know, their job, and they put their hearts into it, and to be able to work with them through all that we've done for the last years has been an outstanding experience, and I'm really glad I got to be a part of it. And then I'm also really glad I got to work with everybody up here and everybody who's been up here before, Tom Maxwell and Tom England as well. It's been an amazingly educational experience. Sitting, I think I've said it before, sitting in the audience and reading the agenda from time to time is one thing. Sitting on the other side of this podium or this dais is a completely different experience when you're thinking about what decision to make and how to make it, and do I have all the information I need, and am I missing anything, because the decisions that are made up here are very important. I'll leave you with one thing: have fun. Where'd he go? He left. Stole my line. I've been thinking about that all week. Make a paper airplane and throw it across the dance once in a while. Seriously. We spend a lot of time up here. There's a lot of effort that goes into the decisions, like I said, and if you can't enjoy it, you can't have a little smile here and there, maybe get a little trouble by the mayor for talking when you shouldn't. I strongly recommend you do that. Good luck to everybody. Congratulations to everybody who's been elected. Christina, Ashton, you guys have a lot going in front of you, and I wish you all the best. Thank you.
Wild Blue Yonder, and you get some products, but anytime nothing for us over the city. Okay, Dick, come on down here. No, it's easy. While Mr. Neville is on his way down, I'm going to throw some numbers at you that might be astounding about Dick and the relationship that I've had with him since the late 60s. So Dick Neville and I go that far back. I was the first lieutenant, he was the tech sergeant at Randolph Air Force Base. And so we go back that far. So this is really a bittersweet moment for me, because I've had the chance to work with Dick for many, many years in many different kinds of capacities, just as I had with William. Dick is, and I'm not in any particular order, but I think the first thing we want to do is give you a bride this far. Sure. You think so? Carol, can you come out, or you want to bring back to you?
You wanted to bring you something?
Yes, ma'am.
Could you bring us a vision? Carry that.
All right, ready for some numbers? And just a couple of things about Dick. He's very loyal to his God, to his family, to his country, to his city. Let me tell you some significant things for him. Dick has been a deacon in the Catholic Church for 48 years. I remember going to his 25th anniversary of your diaconate with our Randolph Air Force. It's the same place where Dick and I had met many years before that. Family, wife Carol, 5 children, 10 grandchildren, full of 10 grandchildren, how about this? 12 great-grandchildren and 1 on the way. There's another number for you, okay? He spent 33 years serving his country, the United States Air Force, and retired as the Chief Master Sergeant. And anyways that ever served in the military know that El Jefes are the guys that run the Air Force. There's no doubt that she was. Okay. He had the privilege of serving the council from 1994 to 2007, and then was reelected in 2007 and served until today. So that's a lot of years serving his family, his country, his God. And we owe a great debt of gratitude. I have another personal relationship with Dick. He presided at the wedding of my daughter, and he's also baptized, I think, 3 or 4 of my grandchildren. So, we have a personal relationship with the Neville family as well. You know he's not going away. He's been very active also he was active from 1997 till the present on our economic development. It's called Industrial Development Corporation back then. Now it's called the Economic Development Corporation. And Dick has been a member of that for many, many years and has served faithfully. He's been the treasurer, so he's been the money man, has really helped keep IDC and now EDC working, right? Right, Dick? Your pockets are totally empty. So, I think that's all about all the numbers that we have. So, what I want to give is a very special, little special tribute here. A couple of things. This one says, presented to Richard Dick Neville, 26 years of service to the University City Council, 15 years as Mayor Pro Tem, 11 years as council member. In recognition of your dedicated service, hard work, and leadership style. Thank you very much, bud. It's just fair. I'll read you what this says on here and then we'll show it to you. It says, Richard Dick Neville, well done, my good and faithful servant. Matthew 25 and 23. And it's a very commemorative bookmark, and I think this guy's a different believer, so want to take a look at that. That's a very special way that we can say thank you. And some of the what you've done for your family and your God and your country and your city can't be understated. We're just so proud to have been able to work with you, Dick. I can call you a very close friend. Thank you very much.
Well, I don't like to speak, but I have to because as a deacon I have to give sermons. Well, I actually don't give sermons, I give homilies. Homilies are short, and sermons, sometimes 2 hours long. And you don't get conversation, you do 2 hours of talking, no hours of listening. It's been a privilege, I tell you, it's been a real privilege. But the one who gave me the permission to do it is the one that sits back there. And she gives up her time with me that I can serve my God, as John said, my city, my family, my country. And one of the greatest things I ever did, some of you may not agree with me, but back in 94, 95, EDC had just gotten a vote from the citizens to get sales tax. And so the federal legislature proposed it had to choose an executive director. The only one who gets paid. And the president at that time said, well, I think it's going to be a simple job. Maybe last 4 or 5 years. And so maybe 20 hours a week. So maybe we can find someone who is willing to work 20 hours a week for $20 an hour. At that time, I was still a teacher at St. Mary's University. And I was the faculty advisor for the non-traditional students who proposed those who are married, divorced, have children, who climbed up out of the 18, 19, and 20 and wrote from this. And this young lady here, Ken Turner, happened to be the president when I took over the faculty advisorship. And she was vice president for 2 years before she went on to get graduated. She had jobs all over the city with her husband, Dick Lee. And so when it came up time to get people to come and say, I would like to have this job, I called Kim. I said, the president says it's an easy job, probably last 3 or 4 years. Would you like to apply? And she said, she did. Well, believe it or not, she got the job. So today, I don't take credit for what she did, because she did it herself. But she started at the bottom here, she worked all the way up the city manager. Kim Taylor was the one who trained her in that job, and she has done, many of you may not think so, but she has done far more than you'll ever know for the city. For a friend, a real close friend, I thank you all for letting me be part of this community for so many years. I'm the only one of the Kent State Council members, I still think so, that lives inside Route 1604. So, that is to me, that's significant, because everybody else lives in a nice neighborhood. Well, one thing I am before you, if it ever stops raining, ever stops getting cold, Randy has promised me that the wagon crossing park will be finished. It's looking great. A lot of the stuff is in, but the groundwork has still got to be done. And I can't wait for that to happen. And so all of you, and you know, another person that keeps us all straight is the city council. Without their expertise, we could get ourselves in a lot of trouble. And all those that are still serving, congratulations, keep on serving. Action, God bless you. As you come up here and I forgot something already. How is that possible? Yes, I knew him when he was growing up. I knew his dad was a chief master sergeant also. And he grew up to be a great guy. Thank you, John, and thank you everybody for allowing me to give a little thought. I think my 7 minutes is up.
Thank you, William. Thank you, Dick, for your dedicated service to your city. It's been a pleasure to work with you for all these years. You'll be missed, but I know you're not going away. So we're glad of that. All right, let's move on to the next item. The next no tab item is to administer the oath of office to the newly elected candidates. So would Ashton, Christina, Bear, please go on down there, because Judge Stubblefield is going to do something very special, and you'll come on up here.
It is my privilege and honor to be able to administer the oath this evening as the municipal judge. After administering the oath, each one of you will need to sign it. It goes to the Secretary of State, City Clerk sends it there, and there's also an additional sheet to sign saying there's no conflict of interest. If you'll each raise your right hand and then repeat after me when I ask you for your name. In the name and by the authority of the state of Texas, I,
Ashton Bowen.
okay, do solemnly swear that I will faithfully exercise the duties of the office of council member of the city of Universal City of the state of Texas, and will to the best of my ability preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution and laws of the United States and of this state, so help me God.
Congratulations.
Don't be on my back page, but not mine. There we go.
Okay. Well, I know what they say in the Price is Right, come on down, but come on up instead.
Welcome.
Thank you. Can I grab what's on your seat?
Christine, congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, all right. 3 newly elected candidates, now they are officially council people for the University City, and we are proud to have you up here to join us as we execute the responsibilities of making us the best city in the United States. We believe it. Hope you do too. All right, our next item is to elect the mayor pro tem to serve for a period of 1 year. This is a traditional thing after the new council is appointed. They come on board, and among them, they nominate and they make that decision all by themselves. I have nothing to do with the council. The staff has nothing to do with this. It's strictly up to our 6 council members now. They're the ones that, it's up to you now. Open it up for anybody, any nomination. Yes, ma'am.
I would like to nominate, Councilmember Nigerian.
Okay, there's a nomination there, Mr. Najarian.
And I would like to probably nominate Councilmember Mayor Gillespie.
Okay. Okay. You'd have to be willing to accept the nomination. Would you be willing to accept the nomination?
I would.
Would you be willing to accept the nomination? Okay, so any other nominations? Okay, so the first person nominated, Hester nominated Mr. Najarian. And this is an open vote. This is not a closed ballot or any secret ballot. So just the majority take it that. So who would vote for Mr. Najarian? 2 members, okay?
3.
Oh, 3, okay. And then for Mr. Goolsby? 2. Let me tell you something. In the 15 years I have served here, I have broken a tie maybe 5 times in the entire time I've been up here. But I think what I'm going to do this evening is I'm going to vote on the behavior of Mr. Goolsby. Okay, congratulations, Mayor.
Yes, sir.
What the mayor pro tem does also, obviously, is serve on my behalf in various functions that maybe I cannot attend, and sometimes that I would recommend that he did. Like Mr. Neville clearly represented the council and me at various committees, because you can only serve on so many, and there's so many hours of the day. So we'll work together on that, and so I promise you it won't take an overwhelming amount of time for you.
I appreciate it.
Okay, all right, very good. Okay, we're done with that. Let's move now to our next item. It's another note tab, number 4. It's a presentation of the 2024 San Antonio River Authority, SARA, Salvatore wastewater wholesale rate and impact fees. So let me turn over to Ms. Turner, and you can introduce her now.
Yes,
Sir?
Mr. Anderson, the General Manager of the San Antonio River Authority,
Deputy Director of Utilities. I don't want to go.
General Manager, who wants to tell us what to do all the time. I'll just go with that. Absolutely excellent man in the position that he did. So, we have 2 presentations. First is the San Antonio water, wastewater wholesale rates, and then after that, we will have the similar presentation from the City of Green State.
Thank you.
So again, I'm Leland Anderson. I'm the Deputy Director of Utility Operations for the San Antonio River Authority. This is my second time visiting you. I did this about the same time last year. I've been with the River Authority for almost 2 years now. Prior to that, I spent several years with the San Antonio Water System. So for those of you that aren't familiar, San Antonio River Authority, we provide wholesale treatment to partner cities, including Universal City, Live Oak, Converse, at our Solid Trio wastewater plant. We also do the same thing for Shirts in Green Valley at another plant that's out off Breakdown Road on the further east side of town. The Solid Trio wastewater plant is located on Rocket Lane across from Judson Middle School. It's currently a wastewater treatment plant that can treat up to 5.8 million gallons per day. We do have the 3 wholesale partners, like I mentioned, but we also have a retail system that's directly connected to our system, where we not only treat, but we also maintain the collection systems. We refer to our partners as wholesale because you maintain your own collection system, and we provide the treatment for that wastewater. So the first slide, and again, just to kind of bring everybody up to speed, when we come to you at this time every year, we are presenting our proposed treatment rates for our fiscal year 24. Our fiscal year starts July 1st. So about February of every year, we begin to prepare our budget. We reach out to our partners. We get the winter averages for your communities. That helps us know kind of the average flows that we expect to see at our plant. Also helps us plan revenue, balance that against expenses, so on and so forth. So this slide is actually the FY23 that we're currently in. This was the slide that was presented to you last year, showing our fiscal year 23 rates and that rate increase, and showing those rates above and beyond. The reason why we wanted to bring this slide back to you today, because we thought it was important this year to continue this multi-year plan that we had brought to you several years ago, which involves the funding of the expansion of the Solid Trio wastewater plant and the increases to our operations and maintenance. So the biggest takeaway from here is that we're trying to stay the course with what we have provided to you in the past few years. So we were projecting a monthly charge for a 5,000 gallon average. This is just a constant variable that we're using, and would be definitely dependent upon each home's individual winter average. What that looks like for this year is a rate of $30.13. It's about 13 cents different from what we projected last year. So again, wanted to make sure that the plans that we brought to you over the last few years with those increases, that we stayed as true to that as we possibly could. So this is just a snapshot of those partner cities. I just mentioned our winter average constant of 5,000 gallons. That really just gives us a placeholder to calculate. When we reach out to the cities in February and March to get your actual winter averages, what you see in that third column from the left, the winter average that's provided by each city. Universal City, based on what you provided this year, your residents are using roughly 200 more gallons per month in those winter average months, which is 3 consecutive months between the months of November and March. That tends to be when homeowners use the least amount of water because there's no irrigation. So a common industry standard is to take those 3 consecutive months and use that to figure out your wastewater rate for the entire year. So based on that percentage change, that's a dollar change, or excuse me, a amount change of about $3.06 to the average bill based on that 4,988 gallons. A lesser winter average would see a lesser or higher winter average, obviously would see a higher increase there as well. So what I mentioned in the last couple of slides is that we're going to stay the course from what we presented to you over the last several years. But one thing we are changing this year, we're entering into right now, is a contract with a financial firm called Baker Tilly. They are going to come in over about the next 3 to 4 months and do a heavy review of our capital improvement plan, look at our debt issuances that we've had in the past, look at our projected revenues, make sure that is all on track with the capital plans and the O&M that we expect over the next several years. They'll also be looking at our rate model. It's been about 10 years or so since we dove into that and see, again, if it meets industry standards, if the rates that we're projecting are enough to fund our operations maintenance, our capital plan. So they're going to dive into that for us. We should have some recommendations from them early fall. We're thinking sometime in September, at the end of September. So, full-blown review of basically all of our finances for our utility group at the River Authority. Real quick before I get to that, one thing we're also looking at is, I can't quite get into names right now because we're still in the negotiation phase, but we are looking at a consultant to come in and do kind of an economic review of our area, talk about development trends, things that they're seeing with TxDOT, similar cities and organizations in the state of Texas and the nation, how they're balancing some of these growth projections and economic explosions, if you will, in our area. So we're hoping that that will help tie into this financial review so that we know what's coming over the next years, the next decades, and we can be prepared for that as well. So. So the solid wastewater plant, that is probably a few months old, that picture on the left-hand side, but that's that plant that I mentioned where your wastewater flows along with Converse and Live Oak. We are expanding that plant from 5.8 billion gallons of treatment capacity per day to 7.33. That will be the final build out of that plant. It was a progressive design build project. We are expecting substantial completion of part of that project here within the next couple of months. I wouldn't necessarily say right now this project has been plagued by delays, but we are seeing some delays mostly on the electrical side with backup generators, transfer gears, similar things that we may hear from other organizations or contractors in the area. But we do still expect this plant to be finally completed, the increased capacity at the end of this year and the other rehab projects about this time in 2024. So it's roughly a $33 million expansion, but it allows us that additional capacity and rehab of those current processes that are online now. So over the next couple of years, additional projects going on is 2 additional clarifiers, which are one of the treatment processes. We will be rehabbing those. Those are not the ones that are being added right now to the additional capacity. Replacing other electrical gear, our motor control centers, and then over the next few years after that, looking at improvements to the administrative building and our lab building there, which of course does some of the basic testing of the wastewater to make sure that the processes are working as they should. So our next steps, and before I go through both of those steps that we've taken kind of to get to this point, so we've met with all of our wholesale partners over the last couple of weeks. I was at the City of Live Oaks Council meeting last week. I'll be leaving here and going to Converse. We met also with the Real Estate Council of San Antonio, the Greater Builders Association of San Antonio. We have a group that we refer to as our Utilities Development Advisory Committee. That's made up with 12 representatives. Mr. Ken Taylor actually sits on that committee starting this year. We brought the same information to them. We give them updates on our capital projects, updates on our rates, updates on our standard specifications, just to kind of get information from ratepayers, information from developers, from the building community that kind of feed into all of these decisions. So those have been ongoing over the last few weeks. And our next steps, we do have briefings that we are giving to our board. We gave them one last week on this process. We'll be giving them another one tomorrow. But moving forward, they would adopt the rates at our board meeting on June 21st. And any feedback that I receive from any of those groups that we've met with has been presented to them or will be presented to them when that feedback arrives. And if that budget is adopted on June 21st, these rates that we're discussing today would go into effect on October 1st, which matches with your fiscal years.
Any questions for Mr. Anderson?
Anybody has specific, again, this is discussion only, so if you have anything that jumped out at you, I would turn the presentation. Yes, Mr. Vaughn.
So that's about your capital improvement plan. So the plant, once it's completed, do you foresee that handling all the growth in the area, or do you see another expansion needed down the road?
I would say the limited growth, we're not expecting huge developments that would then tie into that plant. It should be, we should be at the max for that capacity and should be able to treat the foreseeable growth that we have. Now, we do anticipate years down the road that some of this equipment will need to be either repaired or rehabbed, or new technologies that may come into place, different things that may come from TCEQ that we're required to put in. We are putting bookmarks, if you will, down the road, just as a placeholder to make sure that we have the funding capacity to take care of those if they do come to fruition. But as far as capacity, we should be fine with that 7.33.
Okay, thank you, Mayor.
Good. Anyone else? Yes, Mr. Chairman.
I'm sorry, and I didn't quite hear it all, but you would mention the generators are Backup generators?
That's been on the two plant expansions that we have ongoing right now. Solid Trio and what we call our Martinez 4 plant is also under expansion. That's the biggest holdup that we have right now are the large generators that TC2 requires that we have on site.
Is that
because the power goes down.
So it's a supply chain issue?
It has issues.
Specifically.
Yes, they've been Solid Trio expansion, not affected as much as the other expansion that we have, but it's probably the better part of a year behind what we would consider final completion. Now, we're able to bring some of those treatment processes online, but technically we can't say that the project is finished unless we have backup power on site.
Thank you.
Very good. Any other? Again, this is just discussion, and we're, again, it's Live Oak, Converse, and us are part of this whole process. Okay?
Mr. Mayor, maybe if I can just bring it all together, and I apologize. Sometimes forget that we have new people, and this may be your first time at the dais hearing this. So, as you know, we're getting ready to have our budget meeting, and everybody knows the date, right? July 12th, you have it on your calendar, it's great. So for that particular meeting, what you're going to be hearing is you're going to be hearing the rate study for the city of Universal City. So when we do our rate study, what we do is we go back and we give to our consultants, what is it that Sarah is proposing for an increase? What is it that CCMA is proposing for an increase? We meld that together, we add it in with all the CIP projects and everything else that we're going to do, and that's how we come up with our 5-year plan. And so we know what our anticipated rate will be for the next 5 years. So we have to have their information early enough so that we can give you the pertinent information when July 12th comes.
Thank you very much. Okay, let's move on to tab number 5 then. That's the presentation on the 2024 Civil Little Creek Municipal Authority, the CCMA rate and impact fees.
I am the general
I'm going to get
manager.
it right this time. This is Alex, he is the general manager of CCMA.
Thank you, Mayor, Council, appreciate y'all having me out. So again, I'm with Civil Little Creek Municipal Authority. We provide the wholesale wastewater service to roughly the eastern half of your city, east of Pat Booker. Much shorter presentation. I'll try to go into some detail if I'm going too quick, please stop me. So what we've tried to do with our rates over the last few years is match the rate of inflation. We failed miserably. We had several years ago presented a series of rate increases to the council. This next year, fiscal year 24, no change. So what we're looking at is sticking with the 1.9% increase, 8 cents per thousand increase we had presented to council a few years ago. What we're proposing for the following 2 fiscal years, 25 and 26, are another pair of 2% increases, 1.9 and 2.1. An 8 cents increase for fiscal year 25, 9 cents increase for fiscal year 26. So our rates are stabilized. We don't have any huge projects, and we feel we need to raise rates to issue debt for in the future. We are essentially just using growth to pay for some of our increased cost of service. These increases will pay for the rest. The FY24 should cost the average homeowner approximately 40 cents per month. That's what the new increase would cost. Total increases for the 3 years would be $1.25, and that's based on, again, similar to Sarah, a 5,000 gallon winter water average. This is the impact to Universal City per residential connection. We build based on actual water consumption for commercial and industrial. Currently, you're paying $20.65 per home. This coming fiscal year, it goes up to $21.05. Fiscal year 25 goes to $21.45. Finally, 26 goes to $21.90. This is a comparison we put together of some of our other local, I don't want to say competitors, some of the other utilities in the area. Shows you where y'all stand. Y'all are very competitive compared to a lot of the local communities. Salt, I think, actually had a rate decrease this year. 3220 would be the only one that got it in y'all 4066, and that's for your average homeowner. That includes both the CCMA charge and the Universal City charge for the Universal City, for the CCMA portion of your system. So, very short presentation. I can go into much further detail if I want to answer questions.
Again, this will be coming back to us in an official capacity as we go through the budget process. Any specific questions coming up? Very good.
I'm also on the agenda for impact fees. I don't have anything official yet. We use a slightly different process than y'all use. We don't use Chapter 395 or Water District. We use the TCEQ approval process. We're in the closing stages of an approval to increase our impact fees for the first time since, I think, 2007, 2008. We're going from $1,800 per LUV to $2,200 per LUV. Sir?
What's an LUV?
I'm sorry, living unit equivalency. So, a single-family residence.
Thank you.
Sorry, acronyms.
So impact fees are for new development, so if a single-family residential connects to the sanitary system on the CCMA side, then they would be paying $2,200 impact fee just for that connection. Sarah did not mention it, but they actually are raising their impact fee. It is $3,200 right now, and theirs is going to $5,000. But the board hasn't yet approved it, so we're anticipating $5,000 on their side. And that's a one-time fee.
Again, my board hasn't approved it yet. This is just what we submitted to TCEQ. We're in the very end stages of that. We're also decreasing the gallons per living unit equivalent from 245 to 155. So we'll have a little bit more commercial and industrial.
Anybody? All right, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Good evening.
I just had a ding on my watch. If you're a Spurs fan, they've got the #1 pick in the lottery. They just got awarded the #1 pick. So this French phenom may end up being a superstar for, like David Robinson was and Tim Duncan. Who knows? So great news, right?
Can't hurt.
Can't hurt. Okay, let's move on now to tab number C, everyone. Discuss and to consider ordinance 361-AE-2023. It's an ordinance amending ordinance 361 in chapter 1-4 finance, article 4, section 1-4-40, schedules fees and charges for library services of the code of ordinances, revising certain sections and paragraphs accordingly, providing severability and setting an effective date. This is our first reading on this one. Ms. Turner?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We haven't had a chance to look at the library fees in a while, but when COVID hit and we went to some unusual hours at the library, we recognized at that time it was kind of hard for people to get their books and items back to us. So we, at that time, forewent the nickel and dime that we had for our late fees and actually haven't picked those back up since then. The library staff has been looking at the fees that they charge. They would like to go the same course as a lot of the libraries are going, and that is not charge people for late fees. But what they will do is if they don't return the book after 9 weeks or it comes back damaged, then they'll charge them for the price of the book plus $5 processing. And so they are proposing some of those fees. We've got the fax fees in there. We've got the card replacement. We also went to the swipe card at the library for activity room. It used to be a key, but you know, those cards cost us money, and if people don't bring them back, we have to charge them from them because we have to buy new ones to replace them. And or if they don't bring them back, other people can't use the room. So what you have before you is the new fee schedule, and the staff is recommending approval.
Okay, anybody have anything to jump out at them while they were looking at the proposed fees? I think they're very fair and awesome. Yes, Josh?
I just had a question. So, in there it talks about how if you're a non-Texas resident, it's a $15 fee. I couldn't find anywhere, after looking for a bit, but can the military and their dependents without a Texas license still get a free library card?
Yes, they can. So all they have to do is they have to show, like if they bought a house, they can show that, or if they have a utility bill at a house in San Antonio or Texas, or if they have their rent. So a non-resident doesn't necessarily mean that you're a temporary Texas. So sometimes we get people who are traveling through, maybe they're here for a month or so, and they'd like to use the library, all the things, but they don't intend to stay. Those are the non-residents. Anybody else, if you have a place that you're staying at long-term for a year, they can get a resident card.
So if you're on base,
You still get a resident card.
you'll still get a resident card?
Texas address on base.
Okay, awesome, thanks.
It's an interesting point. I don't know if you're all aware that the people that live on base at Randolph have a 78148 mailing address. We can't claim them for any other reason, but they do have a 78148 Universal City address. But the business offices, the buildings are where they all work, that's Randolph Air Force Base 78150. So, anyway. Good, thank you, Ashley. Yes, Christine?
When I was reading it, I had the question of how long a book could be lost, or not turned in before it was lost. You said 90 days, I think?
Actually, it's 9 weeks. So when you check a book out, you get 3 weeks, and then it should come back. And then if it doesn't come back, then you get the letter saying, hey, your book's overdue. And sometimes people like to check them out for another 3 weeks, or maybe they'll say, can I have it for another 3 weeks? And so we can give them another 3 weeks. But if they don't respond, and then in 3 weeks we send them another letter, and they don't respond, then at 9 weeks we send them the bill for the book or the DVD or whatever it is that they happen to purchase, plus the $5 processing fee.
Is there value in adding the 9-week language into the?
We can have 9 weeks. Actually, I beg your pardon. So coming up, I think at the next council meeting or the one after, Megan's still looking at it, we have a circulation policy coming, and in there it indicates the 9-week period.
Okay. As long as it's documented somewhere, I think that would be helpful.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Mr. Paul?
And on that subject as well, instead of the 5 cents or 10 cents fee, if they don't return the book, we send them a letter and get to the point where we say, okay, you owe us this much money for the book and the $5 processing fee, and they just decide they don't want to do it. Do we have any recourse on that, or is kind of,
So, yeah,
they lose a privilege,
we always
obviously?
continue to follow through on those. Thankfully, most people are very good and to pay for the price of the book. I think it's the $5 processing fee, which is really the new item on there. So, lost or damaged books. We have some books, we did it when we moved to the library, that they weren't returned, but we had carried that for 20 years, but that book hadn't been returned. And what we did at that particular time is we identified all of the items that had been returned, and the council wrote it off as bad debt. Not a process we do very often in the library, because most things do get returned. And you have to remember, when somebody gets their library information, we do have copies of their driver's license as well, so we have some means of contacting them.
Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Beck?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Is this going to be posted at the library? Like, obviously, when everybody signs up for their library card, they have to agree to the terms and conditions of having it. As they come back now to borrow a new book, will they be informed of the policy change and have to sign a new agreement or anything like that?
I don't know if they'll have to sign a new agreement. We'll have to wait and see what the circulation policy is, but certainly when somebody sets up their account, they'll be given a new policy. But I'll advise the staff that they have these little clear things that they put at the checkout stand. That's probably the most appropriate place to put that.
Yeah, kind of draw everybody's attention to it, say, hey, we've changed our policies. Thank you.
Yes?
Move to approve.
Motion made by Councilmember Boothby, second by Councilmember Vaughn. Discussion further? All right, call to the vote, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Boothby,
Aye.
Councilmember Vaughn,
Aye.
Councilmember Buck,
Aye.
Councilmember Bowman,
Aye.
Councilmember Fitzpatrick,
Aye.
Councilmember Najarian.
Aye.
That motion passes. We'll move on now. We're going to have a series of public hearings coming up in a minute.